If he's got a fault politically, it's that he's not a schmoozer. He's a serious person, and he cares about the details, and he cares about getting it right. Scott and I have known each other since we were in our 20s, actually. He was a young legislator and a mentor and a friend of mine. He is one of the most dedicated and serious public servants that I've honestly ever met. And now that he's a speaker, he's become quite a consequential figure in Hawaii's history. He has done so much for housing, for the University of Hawaii, for healthcare, for civil rights, for human rights, for climate. He's not just a friend, he's a real leader for Hawaii, and he really deeply cares about his community. If he's got a fault politically, it's that he's not a schmoozer. He's a serious person, and he cares about the details, and he cares about getting it right. And so he doesn't always tell everybody what they want to hear, but he always does the right thing for his neighborhood and for the state of Hawaii. Well, I think Scott and I worked extremely closely together during the COVID crisis, and there was a real need for leadership, especially in terms of getting the vaccines deployed to everybody that deserved to have that kind of safety. And Scott and I made sure we coordinated the federal resources, worked with the executive branch, with the counties, with nonprofits to make sure that we had one of the best vaccination rates, the lowest COVID death rate in the nation, and still had an economy that was able to recover once the crisis was gone. Well, Scott really cares about the details. He's not the kind of guy who's gonna, just sort of throw something at me and say, why don't you fix it? We always have either a text exchange or a phone call or an in-person meeting to try to set priorities together, and I think that's the kind of leader that you want, and especially in the kind of polarized environment in which I have to operate, it's really something that I treasure, that our conversations are friendly and all that, and we still have a good rapport, but it's about the substance, it's about what the people of Hawaii need, and I think the weight of being in power is a serious matter for him, and he tries to wield power on behalf of his constituents, not for his own gain. Scott Saiki is a representative's representative, and what I mean by that is, he's the person who taught me how to knock on doors. He's the person who taught me how to make phone calls into locked condominiums. He's the person who helped me to understand the floor process in the House of Representatives, the appropriations process to make sure your community gets, money for roads and healthcare and schools. And so Scott is a person who in his bones cares about his neighborhood first, and that's why he should be reelected.